Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, we will unleash our unbridled enthusiasm about the lore behind the planet Umbara, which, as you know, is central to the update coming this week. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 207, who is right over there. And alongside today, as always, is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Going really well. We we actually went and did Nightmare Pilgrim this week on MFN, which I've been looking forward to doing ever since I never finished that quest. I need to do it one more time, and I know a couple other people in the guild as well, so we probably will be doing that. But anyway, checkbox for the second time on that. Um, that was one of those quests that got reset when was it when coffee started? But it was, I don't know why I don't know why I thought that wouldn't be one of them, but I had it all done except for I think one of the world bosses on Hoth, which I could go
Uh,
solo.
Bummer.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, it might have been, yeah, because it was before, I think it was the patch that put in the level syncing. But anyway, then we went and did, on MFN, we went and did Karaga's Palace, in which I did not blow up Apollos. In fact, everyone else blew up me, which is only
You
fair.
started it.
I did. And I spent some time this week doing some Zen-inspired conquesting. So Zen got us started to do some conquesting on the pub side this week. So I've been doing a lot of crafting,
Yeah.
and I think I've gotten 5 characters on the pub side to their personal target. And I'm continuing to make holocrons of strategy because that's what we're low on in the guild bank. And if you're in the guild and you want to help towards conquest, I urge you to go to the guild bank on the pub side. There's mats in there to make invasion forces, so you can do that. And let's see, tonight in our ops team, we went and we did Tyth and his 2 aunts, and then we went and did what is progression for us right now, which is Heroic Dread Palace. We one-shot a Bestia, which I was happy with because last week we spent a good amount of time getting her down. And then we got in some good attempts at the end of the night on Tyrans. I think we're just going to have to. It's a lot of damage going out. But I think as we learn to get better and better at the dance, there's less and less damage. So we'll get there.
Yes, we sure will.
Yeah. Also, I saw a family of turkeys crossing my street this morning. I was out uncharacteristically early, which, by the way, seeing turkeys cross the street is a pretty good reason for getting up early.
But but why? Why did the turkey cross the road? That just came to
I
me.
don't know. It was the weirdest thing because they just went right across the road. It was like 2 big ones and 2 little ones. Like they knew where they were going, and they went across my neighbor's yard into his backyard, and I'm like
They
fumbling with my
don't.
phone to take a
Turkeys are
picture, but I
turkeys are really dumb. They don't know where they're going. I guarantee. They are well known
I
to be
don't
very dumb birds.
I don't think there's anything back there for them,
Yeah.
but it made my day, so that was good. So yeah, so how's your week going?
My week is also going well. I did like to do Nightmare Pilgrim as well. Remember, there's that little trick if you're doing it with a group and a few people die. If you get a handful of people that die and start running back, the first one who gets back, once you get back there, before
That's
you get
right.
in combat, do a guild ship summon, assuming you're all in the same guild. Or, it'll still work. Assuming you have a guild ship, do a guild ship summon and you'll summon all the people that are still running back and you'll all jump right back into the fight.
Because you set it up in our guild a while ago now, where basically everyone can summon.
Yeah, we had that off for a while because it does basically you have to turn on the ability for people to withdraw guild funds, and we never spent the time even to figure out how, is that fine, is it not fine? And we decided it's fine. We just set the limit to, a little bit lower for the average guild member, and everybody can spend some coins doing some summons as much as they want. And it's been working out great, so I'm glad we have that available. That was good. Nightmare Pilgrim is certainly fun. I have been doing a lot of Conquest. we're doing it on the Republic side, which we usually do it on the Imperial side. My Republic cadre of crafters is not as built out, is not as well structured as my Imperial side. And as a result, I decided I'm going to make a new astromech. I'm going to make a new armor mech. I might make an astromech as well. Craft him and turn him in for conquest points. I made a new armor mech, and I did it really in about like an hour and a half on Tuesday afternoon. I decided I dropped whatever. I think I had biochem, which I have on a bunch of characters. So dropped it and switched over to armor mech on this commando, my 70 commando, and bing bang boom. I had all the enough mats just to crank through, and order to level up crafting skills. All you do is make the components, the various component, the new component things that they're called a little something different for each class, but
yeah,
the assembly components or whatever they're called for your particular discipline. Just make those as they go up in level. Make them until they turn green, and you can train the next level, and you can just make them nonstop. And then if you want, you could keep them, because you can use those lower level components to still make things like conquest war supplies, or you could disassemble them and get some of the mats back, and then sell the unassembled components that you get off of them. That because you're not going to make the low level augments with those augment components.
So how high up did you get the skill of your new armor mech?
Oh, I went to 550 in an hour and a half, and
Gotcha.
and at 550 I could make all of the rest of the war supplies that I wanted to make, and now I think he's 600 because I've been making some war supplies.
So you lost your mat somewhere? I mean,
and that too. That's in my.
Don't you think
notes.
maybe your armor mech used them up?
No, I found the low level. So in my legacy bank, I have grade 7 through 10 of all the greens and grade 7 through 10 of all the blues. Somewhere, I have grade 1 through 6 of all the greens. I found the scavenging components. I was going to make an artificer, but I can't find where the rest of all my green components are. I can't find where my grades 1 through 6 are of all my artificing components, because I'm sure I have stacks of like 100 or 200 of each of the low level mats. I was gonna level up an artificer as well, because that's,
If
as
only
you said.
had a way of finding that stuff.
I know, and I swear I logged into every single one of my 26 characters, and I was taking notes in the spreadsheet about who has what, and I don't know if I overlooked it or what, and then I started going through like the stupid Dark V Light level 50 characters, and they've got like nothing on them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through every single one and like check it off a list and make sure I'm going through them all in order to find them. I swear I went through every single character. I don't know where it went. Anyway, so that's also what I spent time doing this week. Other than that, I read the news, so let's talk about that.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if all your characters have some kind of a trade skill, but sometimes you can just bring up the trade skill, and if you can make anything in it that other characters can't make, then you know the mats are on that character.
Tricky. That is a good idea. But,
even if you don't see them immediately by looking in there.
I mostly just gave up and decided I will not make I will never use those mats. They are dead to me.
They're gone.
So in the news, yes, Nar Shaddaa Nightlife will still end on the 22nd. And I just realized now the 22nd is basically here. We only have a few days left.
We are in the last minute now. We're in the last week.
And I will likely be on the road and out of town traveling to go see the eclipse on the 21st. So if I don't get in the casino this weekend, mostly tomorrow and Saturday, my time is up, and I will not be getting what I want out of... Well, I still won't get it anyway. There's no way I'm getting the companion. but I have 22, I think, golden certificates. I was in the casino today for a little while and got 2 more golden certificates out of about 150 coins. And I wouldn't mind getting the 30 golden certificates and getting the Rancor mount, because I don't have a Rancor to ride around on any of my characters, actually, which is a sad story. I don't think I do. Did we get one from something else? Maybe I do. Maybe I have some sort of Rancor. I have some of the other big beasts to ride. Anyway, that's get in there. Get in the casino. Gambling
Yeah,
is in that
it's
establishment.
time. That's actually what I was going to do this week, but then I decided to do conquest stuff instead.
Yes.
Also this week, we had some news, which I'm doing in air quotes, from the Hollywood Reporter saying that there is some kind of confirmation on a standalone Obi-Wan movie. And I guess Ewan McGregor has always been saying that he'd be up for it. And so they have a director for it. And once they get their sort of act together, then they'll put a script together is the plan. But they don't have a script currently or a date or anything like that. But yeah, an Obi-Wan movie would be cool. And I guess the Han Solo movie is pretty much almost done.
Sounds good. I would be all up and down for a Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan movie. I think Ewan McGregor was pretty much the best part, hands down, of all the prequels. And I would, so more of that, sure, that sounds great. And I'm looking forward to the Han Solo movie because Donald Glover is is awesome.
Yeah, I like him.
Mostly as young Lando, that would be pretty cool. You know, and Han Solo too. Han, you got to say Han if you're a Lando Calrissian fan. Also in the news, we did see the last two. Ostensibly the last two. I think it's going to be the last two sets of class updates that will be going into 5.4 for this round of class updates, and it's for Concealment and Scrapper, and for Carnage and Combat on the Gunslingers and on the Marauders and whatnot. Is that Marauder? No, or Carnage and Combat is for Marauder and Sentinel. Yes. Both of them seem to me to just be basically mild nerfs. Nothing all that interesting. And the notes on both of them also say they were slightly high. We're just slightly nerfing them just a little bit. I don't think there's anything all that dramatic with either one of them that anyone's going to be too broken up about. I haven't read through the comments yet, but remember there's specific process that they're going through to determine whether something should be buffed or nerfed, and it has to do with whether you're melee or ranged, whether you're sustained or burst, and there's a whole scale of where the balance should be, so that if you are melee range sustained, you should have sort of the highest boost on the ladder, and if you're ranged burst, you should have the lowest, sort of a little bit of a discount on your damage on the ladder, just to even things out across all of those types of classes. So you can go look back at that post if you're confused at why they're doing what they're doing to these different classes. And also remember, in this round, they're also only making small adjustments to that DPS range. They're not worrying about things like utilities. That's for later, when they nerf mercenaries to the ground to make us completely useless after they already nerfed our damage. So there's that. In Guild and Community news, we will be showing off some of the things that came up in the Guild in the community news this week. A lot of the influencers and bloggers and YouTubers have been showing off the Umbara trailer and talking about it and blogging about it. We'll bring up a couple of those in particular. Zamzam and Passionately Casual did a funny take on the trailer, so we'll talk about both of those. But great job everybody who's continuing to cover that, and it was nice of BioWare and the SWTOR team to release that early to all of the people that are making that kind of content and allow them to push it out there earlier this week. So that was kind of cool. How's the guild, Seema?
So I mentioned earlier, Conquest is a trade. It's called the Trade Emporium this week. So the biggest feature of that is crafting, including this time prefabs. So if you have a bunch of the blue materials from crew missions that you don't have a use for. You can make prefabs for Conquest this week. Also, MFN next week. Actually, I put that it's going to be Imp side again, but now I'm not sure. But we will have MFN on next week, which is August 22nd.
Yes, it will be Imside next week, and it will be another round, another shot at the Nightmare Pilgrim, because we have people that are 2 of 3.
Oh, all right, cool.
And we're going to get some Aerotech corals out there for all of those people.
Yes, I want my pink speeder.
And as always, thank you very much to the chat room. Everybody was helping me out in the chat room as we were getting ready for the show and letting me know if my new microphone was sounding okay. I don't know if you caught that. I got this new shiny HK themed microphone. I just realized that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. This was a fun little bonus that I got through various mechanisms and means through work. So that was cool. And I will catch up with all of you after the show. So thanks, chat room. And as always, if you wanted to check out our guild, we were already chatting about it in the chat room before the show. We are on Jedi Covenant. We have guilds on both the Republic and the Imperial sides. You could come check us out and join up by getting on either of those sides and joining our custom looking for officer channel called AIE LFO. So if you do a /C join AIE LFO, you can find us. You can also check out our guild website, aie-guild.org. We've got all the guild information there, including how to catch up with us on Discord and chat with us and find us on Twitter and all of that kind of thing. So we would certainly love to have you in the guild. Check it out, and we'll get you all connected. And with that, I think we can unleash some of the unbridled enthusiasm about Umbara.
Deep in the ancient, monster-infested tomb of Marka Ragnos, there is a holocron filled with dark secrets and encased in a great stone monument.
And that holocron has all of everything you would ever want to know about Umbara. Let's kick it off, Seema. Let me get this going. Let's kick it off by check this out, Seema. If I can start
All right,
it up.
I'm checking it out.
Check this out. There we go. Check this out.
The train is on the move, and the traitor's on board.
Nothing we can't hit.
Cool, eh?
Yeah.
That was a little loud. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay, so that was the trailer that came out this week, which introduced us to, we knew it was coming. They had talked about it in the blogs leading up to it, but it introduced us again more directly to the planet of Umbara, which is that shadowy planet there off in the distance. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about what the planet is, where we've heard of it so far, what we know of what's coming next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that trailer that we just saw and a little bit of the story that was published on the SWTOR blog today by one of their authors, one of their writers, who was posting one of his first stories out to the web there. So let's kick it off. I have seen Umbara before, and now as of today, I hear you have seen some of the extended universe representations of Umbara also. Where did you see that today, Seema?
That's right. Well, I was looking for where I could stream the Clone Wars, and I found out it's on Netflix. Because I know it was on Netflix for a while, and then it wasn't. and it's back. So if you wanted to rewatch Clone Wars, if you haven't watched it already, it was my first experience watching Clone Wars though, because I used the Max method of time management, and when it was on Netflix before, I kept putting off actually watching it because I knew I could watch it any time, and then I missed it. But I watched the 4 episodes, which is the Umbara arc, in Clone Wars, and wow, it was really good.
Wasn't it? It
Really
was.
good. I mean,
So
I
if you
was
haven't watched Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, they are I'd say over the whole arc of Clone Wars, the quality varies a little bit, but it's pretty good overall. And some parts of it, especially some of the seasons, are really, really good. And I agree, Seema. This 4-episode series that focuses on these events that happen on Umbara was really, really cool. The key part of the story there, this takes place in the Clone Wars era, and the clones, there's an assassination of a senator of some kind, and they have to go and assault Umbara for reasons. The episode though focuses on the clones, the clone squad as the protagonists of the episode, and Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who are usually central to a lot of the plots, and Padme and Jar Jar from time to time, and Yoda, they're all out of it. So this just focuses on the clones and their personalities and their names, and they all have names like Fives and Hardcase, and they're really cool. They've got they've got all their stuff going on. They're put into basically an impossible situation on this shadow planet, and they have to work through this story arc. So not too many spoilers, but yeah, I really liked it. I really got into it.
It reminded me of the Bobiverse in the sense that they are clones and they come from the same material, but they all have their own personalities.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. They build on that even more across the Clone Wars, the whole series. They keep coming back to that, and they show off some of those differences, which I think is really cool. Because at this stage in the Empire, they are all identical clones, but yeah, they certainly do develop individual personalities and play off of that with their nicknames and things like that. So what did you see? What did you think of the planet Umbara that you got a view of there?
Well, I was expecting the darkness, so I got that, and I was expecting lots of new wildlife and a different type of technology, of high-tech stuff, and I got that too. So it was a lot. Yeah, there was one beast that was kind of similar to a sarlacc, or it was kind of a plant as well, but it was like it would open up and have teeth. I think we're going to see that on Umbara. I mean, I think they've already said that, but it'll be interesting to see what we actually see on Umbara, because of course this is happening for us long before the Clone Wars.
Right. So we're a couple thousand years before the Clone Wars when this is happening. I don't even think Yoda is born yet, or maybe soon. So this is a long time ago. Okay, so let's get into the lore and legends. So where did this planet come from? What's the idea behind it? In the extended universe so far, it's definitely part of some of the events that are happening in Clone Wars. And since it was in the animated series, it is now canon. It's part of the canon universe of Star Wars. So Umbara is this shadowy planet. It's in this nebula, which causes the light from its star never to reach its surface. So it's sort of like always dusk, always night on this planet. You can look up some of the details on Wikipedia and get some of the background that they have there. But almost everything that's canon at this point is from the Clone Wars series. So everything that you're seeing, everything that they learned, which wasn't all that much. It wasn't really focusing all that much on the planet itself. A little bit on the planet, a little bit on some of the wildlife, and a little bit on the race that controls the planet. Who are what is their name? I missed it. The native Umbarans. There, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
of what their deal was. And their deal also at this time, because they were sort of evolving independently, their technology was evolving independently. In theory, they have quite a bit of advanced technology, and in some ways, some of it's even more advanced than the core Republic technology. However, a lot of it's difficult to use and confusing and weird. And you see a little bit of that in the Clone Wars series as well. I don't know if you saw when they were like flying around on those weird bubble spaceships, and the clones had to figure out how to use them, and so that was cool. The aliens themselves, the Umbarans, they use stealth technology. They're spooky. The creatures on the planet are also spooky. So darkness and spookiness, that's all seems to be part of it. I don't know how much of that, as you saw in the trailer, I don't know how much of that we're going to get all of that same sort of feel, because in the trailer it's a little bit brighter, just sort of a little bit brighter but foggier. I didn't get the whole really creepy, spooky feel. Although, when we get to it and we talk about the story, they definitely play on it. That Sam definitely played on it there in the story, didn't he?
Yeah. So, the Umbarans, or the planet, was cut off from the rest of the galaxy for an X undetermined amount of time. So what I don't think we know is, when we've come across Umbara now in SWTOR, is that after that isolation is ended, or are we poking into that isolation?
Right. That's a good question. And I don't know. It's phrased.
Soon we'll find out.
Right, because it's phrased weird, and I think some of that's coming from Legends. I think it's mentioned in some of the books here and there that that it was cut off, and that's why the technology evolved the way it did. And I don't know if it was that it was like part of the Galactic Empire and then it was cut off, or it was just sort of always on its own. And maybe we'll get some of the details on that as this goes forward too.
Right. Basically, in the time of the Clone Wars, it starts off as being part of the Galactic Republic, and then it breaks off and sides with the Separatists, and that's what the conflict is about.
Yeah. Right. So when you go there, when the clones go there, and the stuff that happens on there, that's all sort of part of the rebellion and that process that's happening from the Clone Wars period. I did like some of the flying things we'll talk about, some of the creatures we'll talk about, that showed up in the story as well, and I think they were represented well in the animated series. The art is pretty good in that animated series too, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I was really taken by the clones themselves, and I love I didn't expect to, but I love the style of animation, and it was made for very expressive faces.
Yeah, right. It's very stylized, but it really works. It's sort of this weird angular style, angular chunky 3D style, but it really does work, and they are very expressive, and it's well animated, very alive.
And there's this one scene where they're slowly moving forward in the dark, and somebody trips over something, and another person says, "Oh, it's just a vine," and I'm like, "Oh, it's probably not just a vine."
Here,
it's a hostile environment.
I think that's this picture right here. You can see that tentacle reaching out.
It probably is right
through the darkness, and there's a whole scene in one of those 4 episodes where they're sort of little side battle with one of the mini Sarlacc type creatures with those vines and gaping maw. They also got to ride around on a whole bunch of these little personal walker things. I thought those were sort of cool.
Yeah,
these little mini
and
walkers.
They moved really fast too, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, they were
winging
all around.
They could run. They were like runners.
Yeah. So I guess in a swampy area, that's probably, well, I don't know why you wouldn't just have a hover bike, but I don't know. They decided that that's what they needed.
Yeah.
It's
in almost every
cool.
environment, why would you want a walker?
Yeah, I don't know. So Clone Wars, that's where this mostly came from. Now that BioWare decided to put it into Star Wars, so the planet is still canon. The things that BioWare does with it in Star Wars The Old Republic aren't necessarily canon, because Star Wars The Old Republic is outside of canon. However, we do know, and they've said before, they do try to consult with the lore, the keepers of the lore, and try to keep things close to canon as they can, which provides them two opportunities. One is the opportunity to where they need to stray away from canon a little bit, and two, they can also write within the framework of canon enough that even new things that they introduce could become canon over time if it got picked up somewhere else in some other current story that Disney's doing. So we'll see as far as that goes. We'll see what it looks like. As we saw in the trailer, we only got a few glimpses of the planet, and then we got some glimpses of the train. So before we get to the train and what we're going to see there, and what we saw in the preview, tell me about the story, the short story that we got today.
Well, it's actually a nice, quick read, so I recommend you go read it. But it's set on the train, and it's called Trading Wounds. So they basically it's two veterans and a newbie, and they're kind of setting the stage for this newbie to, be scared, basically. So I mean, I'm not explaining it very well, but I would say go read it.
They're hazing, they're hazing the new guy.
Right.
Couple grizzled soldiers are hazing the new guy. Yeah.
They kind of teased names of some like mobs we might see, like Vixian Mahler and Alpha Slybex.
Yeah, I tried to look some of those up. I found, so they mentioned 3 creatures: the Banshee, the Vixian Mauler, and the Alpha Slybex. The Banshee is well understood, and that's that flying thing that you mentioned. The other 2, I did not find. So I think that might be a BioWare invention. This is the Banshee, though. It's a little bit hard to see, but these are them in the Clone Wars art, and then this is another drawing rendering from Legends of the Banshees. And then the one soldier talks a little bit about the scars he got from a Banshee attack, blah blah blah, trying to freak out the new guy. But yeah, I really like the story. So the author's name is Sam Walschlager, and he tweeted today, and his tweet today said, "Hey, I'm a little bit self-conscious about my prose. This is one of the first of these short stories that I'm putting out. Hope you like it." And yeah, I really liked it. I think this is one of their best little short stories that they've done when they've done this in between different expansions. So I tweeted back to Sam and said, "Thumbs up, good job, give us more." And I know you did too.
Yeah, I thought it was the perfect length too.
It was, and it's a perfect little length. Introduces a couple things, because now we learn. Okay, so I mean, maybe a little bit of spoilers out of this 30-second story that you're going to read, but we learn what the train is a little bit, because it's 3 guards basically on this train chatting back and forth. We learn that it's an Adagan crystal transport, which is lightsaber crystals.
Right.
I didn't think lightsaber crystals came from Umbara. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just had them there for some reason, or I don't know for sure. But that's, in theory, that's what this train does. It's crystal transport. And then, as you mentioned, right, Seema, they named off a few different creatures, so that was pretty cool. We do get the feel that this is a dangerous environment. Basically, they're trying to scare the newbie, but they're talking about these creature attacks that they've had, and then the senior officer, she tells a really scary story about what happened with the Alpha Slybex one day. But then at the very end of the story, again, a little bit of spoilers here, so mute for the next 30 seconds if you don't want to hear. But the end of the story, it ties into the trailer. So basically the end of this short story finishes at the beginning of the trailer. So what you see in the trailer happens at the end of the short story, which I thought that was clever and a really good tie-in. I liked that a little bit. And
I'm looking forward to the train.
yeah, so here's a picture of the train, again clipped from that trailer that we saw. In the trailer you see the usual suspects, the Outlander, which is you, and Theron and Blondie.
Lana. Blondie.
Theron, Lana, and the Outlander. They get dropped off by a dropship, and they land on the train, and Lana says, the traitor is on board. So obviously the story, which in theory was going to develop in the Flashpoint that's going to get released on Tuesday, will be focused on the end of the Iokath story, where it was revealed to us that there's some sort of traitor in the midst of the Alliance, which has been either causing some of the conflict between the Republic and Empire on Iokath and causing us to become vulnerable in some of the dealings of what we had on Iokath so far. And we're, I'm sure, wanting to track down who this traitor is and develop the story a little bit further. So this is certainly a continuation of the Iokath story. We're off on Umbara for some reason. I'm sure we'll find out why we got led to Umbara to chase down this traitor, and we're not back on Iokath. But and why, for whatever reason, the traitor happens to be on this train. So mystery train. This train is where it sounds like the Flashpoint's going to take place. They land on the train, and this is it. Well, I don't know for sure. I mean, that's what I'm guessing. I have no idea yet. I haven't even seen any of the leaked stuff about the Flashpoint yet. But I'm guessing the Flashpoint probably takes place on the train, if that's what the lead-in trailer is. What do you think, Seema? I guess it doesn't have to.
I thought that you would have, since you have to do the Flashpoint to get the currency to buy the stronghold, or to at least discount partly buy it. I guess I was kind of picturing it as some kind of a advance to the train.
So maybe you have to fight your way through the train station or whatever, and well, then it wouldn't resolve anything with the traitor, though, if we don't get to see.
No, you're right.
What happens? But you could still be like fighting at the train station or something. I don't. Who knows? So we'll have to see how that goes. But then what you were alluding to, of course, also is the stronghold. So why don't you talk about that for just a second? What we've heard about that so far.
Well, we talked about it a little bit before, but we've heard that it's a train. Now that people have published some stuff about it, you can find people talking about it on YouTube. But it's basically a moving train. I think the way they accomplish that is you're in your normal instance stronghold, and then there'll be like scenery going by the windows of the train. But looking at the train, I find it hard to tell, especially from the teaser. When Lana and the Outlander and Theron, they jump down, are they on top of the train?
Yeah.
Or are they still inside? Okay. So there's no physics happening there where they're getting blown off or anything like that. Because they're just walking
very windy,
along.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It does not seem very windy.
I mean, Theron's hair is really gelled up, so it wouldn't move very much anyway. But Lana's hair isn't even like blowing in the wind. That's a good catch.
But I mean, they're not like, when you watch people, trying to walk along the tops of trains, they're like hugging the train and getting, falling, staggering and all that stuff. And they were just like wandering along.
Well, it's a hover train, so maybe it's really gravitationally stabilized, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to have too much trouble with it.
There's like they use a flux capacitor.
So they jump down onto the roof of the train. So that the drop ship drops you off on the roof of the train, and I think Lana says that she says on board, but I think that then you go into the train. So what it sounded like to me from the Stronghold perspective was the Stronghold itself is this train or something like this train, and it's a moving train. So as you said, I would imagine it's just going to be scenery going by in some way, although that sounds pretty cool regardless. And then
right.
then
what we
you
don't know
decorate
is
the
if there's
inside.
a starting point and a destination. Can it go places? I think it's
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
I
know.
would sort of. I think that would be cool. I think maybe they won't do that. And it's just sort of infinite scenery going by. But yeah, I would love it if it like pulled into a station on either end. Because then you could like miss your miss your train. So maybe that wouldn't work out. But I was thinking like if it pulled into the station at the end, and you could like you could decorate the train stations too. And then it pulls into the station, decorate that train station, get back on the train, go to the other station, and decorate both ends of your endpoint. But yeah, then if your Stronghold leaves without you, I guess that would be a little disturbing.
But they could just make it like with an elevator button. You go in like the
Yeah,
tram
and kick it
that
off
gets
and
you to
start it
fight.
moving.
Yeah.
Regardless, I expect you're gonna get whenever you get it, you'll get it. You're gonna be able to decorate the train. But that brings up another point, which is they have said specifically you are going to need to run the flashpoint, whatever the flashpoint ends up being, multiple times, and that will gain you the ability through a currency to purchase a key which allows you to buy the Stronghold. Then once you have that key, you're allowed to buy the Stronghold, and it'll be cheaper than what it's been to buy some of the other recent Strongholds like Yavin or Manan, for example, where, as you know, to unlock Manan, it was like 1,000,000 credits to unlock the entry to Manan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Something like
hopefully
that.
it'll be significantly discounted. I think that was, and as they talked in some of their dev notes and what they've talked about so far, they wanted a little bit different way to get one where you didn't have to just dump a bunch of credits into it and did something a little more interesting. I hope you don't have to run it too many times, just because I don't tend to run flashpoints all that much. But I don't know. I guess whatever they want to do, I'd probably be fine with. If they told me I had to run it 100 times, I would go, wow, that's a lot, but I'd probably still do it. And maybe that's a way to make me do their content. So that
If for me, if it was 100 times, I would just have to visit your stronghold.
I don't know.
I do think
I don't
it's
think it's
possible because this new stronghold is coming pretty quickly on the heels of the Manan stronghold.
Yeah, it really is.
And both of them are small compared to like Yavin 4 stronghold. And they're on the small side. So I wonder if that's maybe a philosophy where they're thinking a little more often, but not as elaborate.
Interesting. That might be what they're looking to do. I don't know how interesting that sounds to me, though. I liked the trend that they had up to this point, even before Manan, where each stronghold sort of got bigger and more interesting and more complicated. Like when we got to Yavin, and it had the hidden waterfall in the back, and it had the tower, and you could use the macro binoculars and find codex entries by looking off into the distance, and there were teleporters to get up to the top of the tops of the towers, and I I liked
I want all that stuff. Yeah.
I liked the action, the mechanics of interesting things happening as part of the stronghold. If we get smaller but less developed, it's here's just a bunch of rooms with a bunch of hooks, and they do that over and over. That's going to very quickly get less interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
One thing I think they need to do more quickly, and hopefully on Tuesday it fixes Manon, is I'm tired of the hit spacebar once you get to the load screen and then the movie plays.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I had to quit logging in
Especially
Manon.
since now I'm doing, because of Conquest this week, I have all my characters in my Manon Stronghold because I switched over and said, okay, well, new Stronghold, going to make that my main Stronghold. And I'm having to log in and log out of all of them very often because I'm like,
Crafting. Yeah.
it's like, so I've hit that stupid spacebar to log in, cancel the movie, like hundreds of times in the past
No,
couple
I had
days.
to move all mine back to Narshada.
I'm almost ready to do that. If they do not shut that off on Tuesday, I will be moving out of Manon. So there's that. Okay, so then to round it out, as we said, there's some community content. That trailer was released at least to the influencers, if not a wider group of community content creators. Zamzam did a bit of content about Umbara in general and talked about what happens in the Clone Wars and what we know about in Star Wars canon so far in a nice blog post that I thought was pretty cool.
It's a really nice post, yeah.
She goes through some of what we know just from Clone Wars and beyond a little bit as well. So that was well done. And then a lot of the influencers, Kid Lee, Sam from SWTOR Central, a bunch of the influencers posted the trailer as it stands, and then there was a little bit of extra creativity. So Passionately Casual, Jessie, who's Stardust Legacy, she also posted the trailer, and then she and a group of pals, including some of the Utini cast team, put together what they call here the Crisis on Umbara DVD featurette.
So cute.
Which was quite clever. So basically it's like a director's cut commentary on an actor's commentary over the trailer. So they, it's only a 1 minute trailer. They extended it to 2 minutes and do a little bit of commentary on it. And I think that the director claimed that the initial planet is made out of the special effects were made by practical effects by shining a red light through a ball of blue cheese, for example, and whatnot. So that was clever and funny. They should have kept going. They should have made it go longer because it was clever and it was just warming up from what I could see by the end. Oh, so that was Jessie who did the voice of Lana. She did a very nice British accent there.
Yeah, she did.
And JT did the director. Nice. And so no, it wasn't. It was JT. It wasn't Utini cast.
Right.
I don't know why I got that mixed up. Will got in there as Theron. Sachari as the producer. That was quite good as well. So good job, guys, and good job to the rest of the influencers. I think that was pretty clever. So that's Umbara, and we'll see the Flashpoint on Tuesday. I'm surely gonna be running it because it's a thing, and I do the things and all of the things. And we'll have a new Stronghold. So looking forward to it. Anything else you've got to add, Zima, before we wrap it up for today?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the Stronghold too, and also I'm looking forward to the Flashpoint and playing through the story.
Yeah. So a little bit more of the story of what's going on with Iocath as we progress through the summer here. A Flashpoint which progresses that story, and the Stronghold, and also don't forget end of PvP Season 8. So
right.
That too.
I was just going to say, if you haven't watched those 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, I would say I really highly recommend it.
Yes, I do as well. So Clone Wars back on Netflix. Good to see it back there. Jump in, take a look, check it out.
It's
Highly
Season 4,
recommended.
7, 8, 9, and 10.
Excellent. And with that, I think we are wrapped up for this week. EPC 207 can dodge the Banshees and Alpha Slybecks to get this podcast out to all of you in the escape pod this week. So Thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight on newoverlords.com, iTunes, YouTube, or live on Twitch. We will stream again next Tuesday night. No, we'll stream again next Thursday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central, and I bet we'll be talking about the Flashpoint quite a bit more. Please follow us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA, and certainly come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite, because we would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.